in with the Zealots. Hwasin doesn't have a lot of vultures in front of those tanks, and he certainly doesn't have those vultures. Doesn't have spider mines before those tanks, and those tanks on that middle line are going to get taken out. Hwasin is setting up a deeper siege behind those tanks. The Weaver, I believe, gets killed. Bisu's managed to break through that choke, but he's going to be pushed back yet again. So Hwasin holds the contain. Hwasin holds the contain, and he needs his reinforcements to arrive soon. Hwasin has managed to hold the contain against Bisu with those tanks, and he's scanning to just take out that observer now of Bisu's, and he's got reinforcements coming. He still has that Goliath alive to try and counter the drops, and Bisu might be trying to go for a drop. Bisu's now got High Templar. I'm not sure how much energy those High Templar have. Bisu has got 4 High Templar loaded up in that, and Hwasin has now actually got Bisu contained right in that choke, but Bisu is reaping the advantage of that expansion at the 9 o'clock position. That's gone unchecked, so Bisu is not going to have to worry too much about economy, even if he does lose this expansion. Bisu's got a significant force now. It looks like Bisu might actually be able to break this push here. I think Bisu has enough to break this push. Bisu's Zealot stream in, and Storm goes off. Brilliant Storm by Bisu as well, and Bisu is going to break this push. The Zealots get taken out, but Hwasin has lost all of his tanks to those High Templar. Unfortunately, Hwasin doesn't have a lot of Dragoons left, and Hwasin holds. I thought that push was definitely going to break. This is a constant battle. This is just going to be an issue of second there, and Bisu lures lots of spider mines into that tank, takes out 2 tanks simultaneously, and Bisu's continued to have Bisu. The fact that Bisu has a shorter route to resupply his forces, it does give Bisu a bit of an advantage, and Hwasin is now actually planting spider mines inside Bisu's natural expo. He's trying to keep Bisu from attacking his forces, attacking the choke he's trying to jump down. Bisu now forced to bring out the probes, try and take that expo down, try and take that tank down. Bisu, I'm not sure if he's actually doing that. I think Bisu is just trying to send those probes down to that expansion. He's actually giving away the location of the expansion by doing that. Hwasin needs to bring those vultures back and set them up in front of that tank. Bisu so far has not been able to break the container. It did look like he was going to be able to break out of that container with those Zealots and Templar, and Hwasin doesn't have a Goliath anymore, so Hwasin needs to either get a couple of SCVs up there or get a couple of Goliaths up there to try and counter those shuttles, because Hwasin doesn't have a Goliath anymore. Hwasin has set up that container outside Bisu natural. Bisu has got a couple of cannons building there, but Hwasin has gotten up into that expansion, the 12 o'clock position, and he's going to be able to kill off most of the probes there with those vultures, and those vultures are just outside the range of that cannon, so that's bad for Bisu, but I think that might actually serve as a blessing in disguise for Bisu, because Hwasin is making a mistake. He's not got anything in front of those tanks to defend them from the Zealots. He needs to have something in front of those tanks, and Bisu coming in with another drop. It looks like he might drop 0 bombs here. He's coming in with another drop with a shuttle. Okay, he retreats the drop, and Hwasin actually managed to take off 2 of those cannons, so that expansion is in trouble at the 12 o'clock position. Bisu might end up losing that, but I don't think Bisu will mind. He's still going to be quite comfortable in terms of economy, because he has got that expansion at 3 o'clock position that is quite well defended, and Hwasin tightening his grip. I still feel at that point where Bisu lost a lot, and Bisu, again, brilliant by Bisu, luring those spider mines with that Zealot, picking off Hwasin's tank, but Hwasin has got a hell of a lot of vultures in there, and Bisu has now been forced to turn out a few Dragoons to try and compensate, because he didn't have a lot of Dragoons the last time he tried to break up the push, and Hwasin tightening the noose. He's actually now got a tank inside Bisu's choke. He's actually now got a tank inside Bisu's choke, and Bisu trying to drop Zealot bombs on that tank. Hwasin, as I said, the key factor in terms of countering this contained setup by Hwasin might turn out to be the fact that Hwasin doesn't have, and Hwasin making a mistake that he's moved his vultures out of position, and that's allowing Bisu to sneak in, and he's got Dark Templar in as well. I think Bisu's going to break this push now. I think Hwasin made a huge mistake. Hwasin made an absolutely massive mistake going with those vultures towards that expo, and that might cost him this game. It might cost him the push. Hwasin does have a Goliath now finally to try and counter that, but I think Bisu's going to break this push finally this time around. Bisu getting those Dragoons on the ramp, and he's actually within range of those tanks, and Hwasin doesn't have defense in that this time, and Bisu is going to break that contain. Bisu is going to finally break out of that contain versus Hwasin, and Bisu has a lot of troops now, and finally Bisu, having broken out of that contain, I believe is now going to be able to come up and win this matchup against Hwasin, because I think Hwasin relied very heavily on the contain. Bisu does have the advantage of that expo at 3 o'clock, and now that he's broken that contain, he's going to be able to retake his expo at the 12 o'clock position. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to save it, because that expo looked to be in quite low health, and Hwasin now losing that contain, that's going to be critical, because while he had that contain, I believe he had the upper hand, but he's lost that contain now, and his own expansions are going to be under threat from Bisu. Hwasin does have a couple of small expansions, but he hasn't taken any gas expansions, so Bisu is definitely getting more gas than Hwasin is, and Hwasin doesn't have a lot of troops. Bisu has certainly got a lot more troops than Hwasin does. Hwasin now trying to set up an expansion at the 6 o'clock position. Bisu is finally going to be able to retake that expansion at 12 o'clock, so the game is going to probably settle down for a little bit here while Bisu gets ready for another push, and I think Bisu did the right thing by not switching to carriers. If Bisu had tried to switch to carriers after setting up that expansion at the 3 o'clock position, Bisu would have lost this game. I have no doubt Bisu would have lost this game, but Bisu persisted with ground forces, and it looks like Bisu has got enough Zealots and Dragoons ready now to try and push again, and Hwasin just trying to buy himself some time by laying mines all over the ground in the middle of the map. Hwasin trying to buy himself some time to reset up some sort of a defense for Bisu's impending push, and again I note that Hwasin doesn't have turrets set up, he doesn't have a lot of Goliaths, So that's bad for Hwasin. I think the fact that he just went for Goliaths rather than going for any engineering turrets, is going to be a factor. And Bisu's now got that Stargate up and the Arbiter Tribunal, and Bisu just looking to flank around with Hwasin, and unfortunately taking some damage from those mines there because he didn't have an observer with him, and that was a little bit unfortunate. Hwasin has sneaked his vultures around behind again. This is, I think, the key mistake that Hwasin made when Bisu tried to break out that push was Hwasin moved his vultures away from in front of his tanks. I believe if Hwasin had kept his vultures in position, he would have probably held that push, but he didn't, and he didn't. And Bisu has now spotted that expansion at the 6 o'clock position. He should be able to take it down with the shuttles because Hwasin doesn't have a lot of defense in terms of maneuverability. And after having broken on the... And Bisu is now going for a drop behind Hwasin's expansion. Templar Storm goes off, but Hwasin very cleverly moves his SCVs out. Hwasin in time, great multitasking and micro and anticipation by Hwasin. He moved those SCVs out in time and did not lose a lot of them to the storm. Bisu only killed off a couple of SCVs in that storm, and Hwasin is probably going to plant a Goliath there now for defense if he's intelligent about it. This game now is very evenly balanced. Even though Bisu did break that turn push, that's not to say that he's going to necessarily win the game. He is persisting on playing a ground force game though, so Hwasin is going to be happy to be pumping out mass ground units, and Hwasin has got that expansion now set up at the 12 o'clock position and he should be mining that expansion soon. Bisu though still having more gas than Hwasin. Bisu does have the gas advantage because of his extra expansions, and Bisu persisting, which I predicted and which I believed he should have with High Templar goons and Zealots. And again, talk about fortuitous timing there by Hwasin. His scan goes off just as the observer hovers over Bisu's over Hwasin's units. Just as the observer came into view, the scan went off, and Hwasin now might carelessly be losing a few vultures here. Hwasin is trying to pick off those High Templar, and he actually managed to kill off a couple of High Templar. They weren't in that shuttle. I'm sure that that shuttle is full of 4 High Templar, and Hwasin's actually got a starport up, so he's probably going to be producing a science vessel from that rather than going for drops. I did say that one of the advantages that Terran had on this map was drops, but Hwasin hasn't used that. And once again, Hwasin not having anything in front of his tanks. I don't understand. Time and time again, he's doing this. He's not positioning his vultures, and Storm goes off on all of Hwasin's tanks, and they're all going to get taken out. And Hwasin is going to lose this game. I feel now. I think Hwasin is going to lose this game. That was pathetic by Hwasin. Bisu just completely overpowering him, and looks like Bisu is now going to overrun this game and going to finish Hwasin off. I don't think Hwasin is going to be able to hold this. Hwasin desperately trying to bring his SCVs in front to try and counter. Another storm goes off. Bisu just storming everywhere. Brilliant storm by Bisu. A cloud of psionic storms over Hwasin's base everywhere. And Hwasin is going to lose that expansion. Hwasin is going to lose that map control. He's going to lose any defense that he has. And the dejected look on Hwasin's face says it all. I think the key moment was when he lost that push. I think Hwasin had the advantage when he set up that contain. But I think the mistake that Hwasin has made is that time and time again we have seen it. Hwasin has not defended his tank push correctly. He has not positioned his vultures in front of the tanks to try and slow down the oncoming rush of Zealots and High Templar, and he has therefore allowed Bisu to just get his Zealots right among Hwasin's tank, and Hwasin forced to lift his command center at the 12 o'clock position. Bisu has now got map control. There's no way back in this game for Hwasin. He might struggle on and hold on and fight on for another half hour, another 10 minutes, another 20 minutes, so I don't think that's going to happen. But there is no way back in this game for Hwasin now, because Bisu has got map control. Bisu has got expansions all over the place. His economy is superior. He's got a superior force on the ground. He's got his arbiters, so it's only a matter of time before Bisu deals the finishing blow and finishes Hwasin off in this game. And I would say in terms of analysis, and I know I'm calling it early, just going into Hwasin's first-person view mode here, I think Hwasin is trying to set up an expansion at the 5 o'clock position. I don't think again it's going to matter because Bisu is probably going to scout that sooner rather than later and take it out once he realizes that Hwasin must be getting resources from somewhere. Excuse me, especially since he's almost run out of, if not already run out of resources in his main. Bisu doing the right thing, not trying to switch to carriers. As I said before, if he had gone for that, I believe he would have lost that. He would have lost this game. Hwasin on 2 critical occasions not putting any units in front of his siege tanks in siege mode, and that's just absolutely suicidal. That doesn't make any sense to me, not having any siege tanks in front of not having any vultures in front of those siege tanks before, you know, having spider mines, then vultures, then tanks, and he just didn't do that, and that just allowed Bisu to just get right up to his tanks. Bisu with his arbiters just trying to pick off, and Hwasin just trying to buy himself time with those vultures, just maneuvering around the map, trying to buy himself some time, trying to find a way back into this matchup, and I don't think that's going to be possible. Bisu's got too large a force. He might just be waiting for 200 out of 200 supply before he finishes this game off, and it looks like Bisu is finally ready to deal the finishing blow to Hwasin. Obviously there's a lot of choke points on this map which make it very easy for Terran to defend. I did feel that Desperado was one of the maps that Hwasin had a decent chance on. I don't think he's going to get destroyed on Python. And Bisu now finally running in. Again, Bisu has done an excellent job of running in lone Zealots ahead of his Dragoons and taking out those spider mines. And I think the reason he's actually been able to do that so successfully is because Hwasin hasn't defended the area in front of his tanks with vultures. And once again, Storm goes off, and this Hwasin should just call GG at this stage, because there's nothing Hwasin can do to stop this push, and Bisu is going to finish this game off here. That has to be GG. And Bisu, just to rub it in, does a recall as well around Hwasin's factories, and finally Hwasin calls GG. So the first game goes to Bisu. That was actually quite a good game. It did look for a while like Hwasin had a chance of winning and coming out on top. Unfortunately, he messed it up, and I think that Hwasin threw that game away. Bisu did play very well.